Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu. And if you are tuning in the day this episode is scheduled to go live, it is February, of course. It is Tuesday, February 5th, 2019. And today is the last day for the giveaway for a signed copy of last week's guest, Lauren Golden's international best-selling book. So I don't want you to miss out on that. So make sure you go to fitarmadillo.com/podcast and get the details on how to enter that giveaway. I wish you luck. Her book has great tips for being more productive no matter who you are, but the book is especially targeted at moms looking to learn how to work from home. So check that out. Lauren is amazing. She has a great community and definitely something that could be a great book for, like I said, anyone, but especially if you or someone you know is a mom looking to work from home and not compromise being able to spend time with her family, but also make a good living. Also last week, we had author Erin Wathen on the podcast to help us answer that question, why can't I stick to my diet? Her episode was based on her book of the same name, and she shared some great insights for all of us looking to figure out why we can't stick to any new habit or stop doing any bad habit that we would prefer not to do as we try to make 2019 our best year yet. So great episodes from both Lauren and Erin. If you're looking for help recommitting to your New Year's resolution this first full week of February. And if you're looking for a fun fitness challenge to commit to in 2019, head back to last week's episode about the Burpee Mile Challenge. It might sound scary, but it's not as scary as it sounds when you hear the information from the Burpee Mile Challenge's host. So I encourage you to listen to that episode and learn more about that event that maybe could be a focus point for you in 2019. All right, so one thing we did not have on last week's set of episodes was any episodes about running, but I have you covered this week. I know I love running and I love talking to runners, so I think a lot of you listening do as well. Yesterday, I talked to Stephanie Blozy, the owner of the Fleet Feet shoe store in West Hartford, Connecticut, and she's back today to share some running tips. So yesterday's episode was all about her very inspirational running journey. Today, we're focusing on running tips. Let me just have her pick up where we left off yesterday. If you missed yesterday's episode, listen to that. Here is my continuation of my conversation with Stephanie. Just for some of the people listening who might be newer runners, since you do have the running shoe store and you've kind of gone through those kind of two times in your life starting running again. Do you have tips for those like beginning runners, like things that they should think about, and maybe even touch on for us too, like why should we go to a running shoe store versus just buy those cute shoes online?
Exactly. It's all about the cute shoes, Catherine, all about the cute shoes. I would say the biggest mistake that people make is like jumping, there's always enthusiasm, like I'm going to do a 5K race. So tomorrow I'm going to go out, I'm going to start running and I'm going to do 3 miles. And really just people do way too much, too fast, too soon. It does take about 6 weeks to create a habit. And I think that's the first thing people should focus on is first figure out how do you make time for exercise in your day? Because it seems like, you're like, where am I going to get an hour to go change and get ready for a run and cool down from a run or take a shower so I can get back to work after lunch break. So figuring out how you can fit running into your lifestyle, whether that's getting up earlier. And, a lot of times that is the answer. Get up a half an hour earlier and you'll find that you actually probably get to work 10 minutes before you normally would have anyway, because you just become so much more efficient. But make time to make that habit. And start with 3 days a week is kind of what I like to tell people when they're starting an exercise program. Because what will happen is life gets in the way. And sometimes you're like, I'm going to exercise every day. And all of a sudden you miss a day. You're like, oh, I just screwed it up. And then for whatever reason, something happens the next day and you've now missed 2 days in a row and you think, oh, that's it, I'm done.
Right.
And you get frustrated and quit. Versus if you're like, I need to run 3 out of 7 days, even if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because Monday through Thursday was completely bonkers, you still feel like you made your goal for that week. So set your goal fairly low, and really focus on just making time to get out there. So if your goal is to do a 5K or is to do a half or a full marathon, like, don't think that you need to get out there and do a 10-mile run. Like, even getting out there for 10 or 15 minutes of running and just getting through the motion of, I got up, I got out of bed, I got outside, I was able to take my shower, make breakfast, and get to work on time. That's a victory in itself. So once you get to like 3 days a week and sort of that 6-week point where you've made it a habit and all of a sudden it's almost something that you need more, that if you miss going out for your run, you're in a grumpy mood all day. I do a little newsletter, and yesterday's was about how like you never regret the workout that you missed. And last week, I just felt like I always feel like I'm rushing every morning, like get up, get out of bed. It's cold and it's dark. And, I either go CrossFit or I go for a run. And I was like, you know what? I just want to sleep in. It's 2 degrees outside. Like there's snow. Like I'm just going back to bed. So I hit the alarm, and I swear, or the snooze on the alarm a couple of times. And I swear it was like 5 minutes later, it was time for me to get up. Like I had been sleeping for an extra hour. And I rushed to take a shower and get breakfast and make lunch and get out the door and come to work. And then I was crabby all day at work because I didn't get my run in. And I'm like, really, like for what felt like 5 extra minutes of sleep, I still had the same crazy day, and I'm just mean. So I decided like, you just got to like get past that.
Yeah.
And once you hit that point where you like need that run, that's when you can start increasing, but never increase by more than 10% at a time. And whether that 10% is minutes, so let's say you've been going out for a 10-minute run every, other day, then you want to go for an 11-minute run. Like never increase from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, because what might happen is you get injured or you just don't feel comfortable. And once you start stacking the odds against you because things don't feel right, you're more likely to stop and to quit.
Right.
So always just little baby steps.
Hi, friends. If you're joining us and going for an out and back walk and only have 15 minutes, that sound was your halfway point reminder. You'll want to turn around now. All right, back to our conversation.
And that word comfortable that I said is super important. And that's kind of where we bring in running shoes. Running shoes should fit like a dream on your feet. The more comfortable they are, research is finding that the better they are for you. So, interesting data back in the 70s when the running boom first started, or the jogging boom back then, companies started to make fancier running shoes. And they looked at injury rates amongst runners that were wearing the fanciest shoes compared to the old Converse shoes. And they found that 70% of runners were still getting injured. Even more fancy shoes, the 90s, even the 2000s, like shoes have gotten to be, super high tech, but injury rates never changed. They're still hovering around 70%. The only factor that has reduced injury rates amongst runners is if the shoe felt comfortable on the person's foot. So now we really focus on the shape of the foot and kind of your natural gait, and find shoes that, really assimilate with that better. So it's not just looking at a shoe and being like, oh my God, that's a cute pink shoe, I have to have it on my foot. Or, oh, you have a really flat arch, like you need this shoe. It's all about analyzing the shape of the foot. And that's why, especially when you're first starting to get back into exercise and running, you should go to a local running store that has knowledgeable people. I always like to think of it as like the old CarMax commercial where, there's like 100 cars on screen and they're like, I want a blue car. And so 50 cars go away. And then I want a blue car with 2 doors. And then they're left with 10 cars and like with air conditioning and a sunroof. And all of a sudden what's left is 1 car. And that's the car you get. Like we help you do that with shoes. You come into a shoe store and you see 150 shoes on a wall and you're like, how am I going to pick? So I'm just going to pick by color.
Right.
But if you let the shoe expert look at the shape of your feet and whittle down and be like, oh, you know what? You've got like a really skinny heel and a wider toe box and a deeper instep. And, you have square toes across the board. This brand of shoe is going to be great for you. because it matches your foot. The more comfortable that shoe fits, the better it is and less likely you are to get injured. So, don't listen to your friend that says, oh my God, I love brand X because they like changed my life. Like if your foot is not similarly shaped to your friend, brand X may feel like, clunky, horrible shoes on your feet. You got to find the shoe that speaks to you. One of the best stories I have is it was like a 16-year-old, maybe he was 17. He brought his younger, like 7-year-old brother into the store to get a pair of new running shoes because he was going to start running with his big brother.
Aww.
The 7-year-old was like, how am I going to know like if it's the right shoe for me? And the big brother was like, well, like you don't get to pick the shoe picks you. It's like Harry Potter and the sorting hat. Like the hat picks what you need. So you just listen to what the shoe says. Like the shoe will pick you. And I'm like, that's so true. Because sometimes you put on a shoe and you're like, do I like this? I don't know. And then you put on another, you're like, oh my God, I love this. That's the shoe you should pick. And hopefully it comes in a good color.
Right.
Shoe. It just shouldn't be the main important thing.
Yeah, that's a super cute story. Well, I can definitely attest to, being helped out by you guys multiple times when I've come in, but definitely
all kinds of tips and tricks.
Yeah, no, I love it. So, well, awesome. And you guys, so one thing I love too, I've never been able to make it to a Wednesday run because I guess whenever I end up going back to Connecticut, I think the way I time my flights, I think it's cheaper to fly on the down. Like I think I'm flying on Wednesday, but that's a fun thing you guys have too, because we mentioned, a little bit that the running community can just be a really supportive community. I think sometimes beginners are intimidated by, runners that have been runners for a long time and maybe are faster than them, even just because of that. But the community is so supportive. So
I definitely recommend people finding a community to run with. And, you listeners might think that like, a running club, especially a running club out of a running store, like those are going to be for the super elite fast people. And sure enough, there may be some of those fast people there, but our fun runs, we go up to a 13-minute mile. We have a lot of people that will do a walk run with it. And everybody is just really accepting of everybody else. And there's nothing like knowing that on Wednesday night, and Catherine, we've added a Saturday morning run at 8:30 now.
Okay,
so
well, that's good.
Yeah. On a Saturday morning.
Yes, I'll have to do that.
Your running friends are waiting for you. It's hard to skip that run. And it's hard to it's just easier to keep your habit going. So definitely find some people. I have stories for everything, but a customer came up to me once and, her kids were in high school and she joined our running program and started a run. And after like 9 months, she had this little posse of moms that she ran with. And there was 6 of them. And they called themselves the Soul Sisters. And they would just love to meet. And they would like meet out for coffee and wine and all this stuff. And she came up to me one day and she said, you know what? Like ever since I've had children, I've always been the mother of Johnny. She goes, when I started running, I was me again. I was Shirley. And she goes, I had lost me. So it kind of circles back to like being independent and finding yourself again and knowing that, it is good if you spoil yourself with some time to exercise. And a little me time is a tremendous investment because it just makes you a happier wife, a happier sister, a happier daughter, a mother. You're a better you when you've had time to be you. So don't be afraid to make time for yourself and find your posse.
I love that, Stephanie. Well, this has been so fun. I especially love, because I'll end up releasing this, still in the beginning of the year, just that inspiration of, whether it's hopefully we'll get some runners inspired to get out there. But
exactly.
Even like you were sharing, the fact that you decided to start the store on a fateful New Year's Eve.
A little wine, a little chocolate. Yeah, that's where all good ideas come from.
Hopefully inspire some people to go after whatever it is they're looking to do.
Yeah, you're never too old to follow a dream.
Yeah. Awesome, Stephanie. Well, where's the best place to connect? I'll put all this in the show notes. So the best place for people to find you and find out more about the store.
Yeah, so our website is Feet Hartford, as in Hartford, Connecticut.com. And then our Facebook page, look under Feet West Hartford, and you can follow us. And we have all kinds of cool things that we like to post on our Facebook page, and our Instagram is Feet West Hartford as well. So follow us, and follow the Fit Armadillo. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephanie. This was fun.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.
Hi, friends. It's Catherine, and I hope you enjoyed these great running tips from Feet West Hartford shoe store owner Stephanie Blozy. I hope to get to see you at a run one time when I'm back in my hometown of West Hartford, Connecticut. I'll try to keep people updated on that. Hopefully I'll be back there for a run soon. And if you missed yesterday's episode, don't forget that Stephanie was on to talk about her running journey. So that's super inspirational. You'll get to learn more about her and what makes the Fleet Feet shoe store one of my favorite places to stop in when I go back to Connecticut. If you are a subscriber of the show, I will chat with you tomorrow because you'll have that notification and you'll join me for the episode. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And if you're enjoying the show and want to help me help other people find the show, I would love for you to leave a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks so much for listening, and I can't wait to share another episode with you tomorrow. Bye.